Hey Gemini. Welcome to Intuitive Gems. My name is Desiree, and I'm going to be doing your money, wealth, finance, prosperity, abundance reading for the month of April 2020. If this is your first time catching one of my readings, I do want to say welcome, and I invite you to subscribe because I do these readings each and every month, and I would love to share your money message with you. For the readings this month, I'm going to be using my Morgan Greer Tarot deck. For clarifiers, I will be using my Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot deck. And then, Gemini, I will end your reading with a Chakra Oracle card. Now, the other thing, excuse me, that you're going to notice in my readings is that I do read jumper cards. So that means sometimes when I shuffle, you will see cards will literally fly out of the deck or they will flip over. And those are the cards that I choose to read because I believe that those are the cards trying to communicate something specific. So I pay attention to those. All right, let's go ahead and get right to it, Gemini. What do we need to know for the sign of Gemini as it relates to money, wealth, finances, prosperity, and abundance for the month of April 2020? All right, Gemini. Now, Gemini, you have to be careful that you're not allowing too many people to influence some of the decisions you're making. And the reason I say that is because the first card that came out is this Three of Cups in the upright position. And because it is right next to the Hanged Man, the Hanged Man sometimes is all about being stuck or inability to make a decision. Sometimes it means overwhelm. Sometimes it means hesitation. Sometimes it means literally just not moving, okay? And we have the Three of Cups here in the upright position. And so that means that there's people involved. And not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it's a distracting thing. And we have to be very, very careful that we don't allow ourselves to get too caught up in things that are going on with other people or things that are going on around us because of other people, that we kind of lose focus or we kind of lose momentum on our own goals and being on our own track of what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to accomplish. So as we move into that first week of April, just be careful. Be careful, Gemini, that you don't allow yourself to get too caught up in other people's stuff. Now, this may not necessarily mean negative things, you know. Someone close to you could have a lot of good things going on in his or her life. And sometimes that can be very distracting, or sometimes we get caught up in what someone else is doing. And so we kind of lose sight of what we're doing. So I'm just saying that's something you need to be aware of and something you need to pay attention to, especially during that first week of April. Now, we also have the Page of Wands here in reverse. This means you've got some news and information coming in as it relates to work. It's going to be something that's uncomfortable, unfortunately. Now, when I say uncomfortable, it doesn't mean it's going to be something that's going to totally, destroy your whole world. But it's probably something where you're just like, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but, maybe it is. But it's something in relation to your work or to your business or, to your profession where, you're just like, this is more of an inconvenience. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but now you're going to have to make adjustments and make make some things kind of happen on your end in order to accommodate this new information that's coming through. It could be something where maybe your office is relocating, maybe your hours get changed, things like that, where it's just, it's news and information coming in, and it's just something that's more of an inconvenience than anything else. Now we also have the Nine of Wands here. Now the Nine of Wands is kind of interesting because it's about kind of moving away from something, but not necessarily letting it go. However, you are going to be distancing yourself from something as it relates to work or something in your professional life. You could be probably making the decision to do work in a different way or in a different location, or maybe you're just, you're not ready to quit your job yet, but you are seeking some, other things. You're seeking other opportunities. It's about you just kind of taking a step away from something because you're just not satisfied with things the way they are. And so you have no problem kind of doing your own research, kind of making your own discoveries of what else is out there. What else can I do? I'm not ready to let this thing go just yet, but I am ready to move on. Maybe that might be next week, next month, next year, but you are ready to kind of move in a new direction. And you're probably going to be feeling that, like I said, during this first week of April. Now, we also have the Five of Pentacles here. Now, the Five of Pentacles is a very interesting card because sometimes it means where it's kind of like when you're in that healing phase and you're not able to do anything. Like how sometimes when you get sick and you're healing and it's like you can't work, you can't, really do anything. So it's kind of like you're temporarily being held back. And it's not because you don't want to move forward or you don't want to advance or you can't, do the job, but because you're kind of out of commission temporarily, that's holding you back. Okay, so just know that, things could come up in that first week of April where you're feeling like, I really want to work, but I can't because I'm sick, or I really want to make some decisions and I really want to kind of start taking some actions, but you temporarily can't. And it's, most of the time it's not due to any fault of your own, Gemini. It's just the situation. It's just, it is what it is. So just know that this is only temporary and it's not something that's going to affect you long term. However, it might slow things down in the pacing of things, okay? You may not move forward as quickly as you like, or you may not make as much money as quickly as you thought you would. But again, this is only a temporary situation and it's not something that's going to affect you permanently. Now we also have Temperance here. Excuse me. Temperance is a very beautiful card because it talks about the balance of life and it talks about things being in sync, things just kind of being in harmony with one another. And as you move into that first week of April, Gemini, you're going to feel that even though you've got, people kind of talking and you feeling kind of, a little maybe disconnected in some areas, you're going to see that things kind of start to flow better for you as we move through that first week of April. Remember, Temperance is all about balance and things being in harmony. So once you I want to say that once you kind of get through some of this stuff in the first week, it's really going to set you up for some new things kind of coming your way that really allows things to just kind of gel together. Excuse me. And it allows things to really just kind of connect in a way that you didn't think they would. And it's going to be a nice surprise, actually. It's going to be, I don't want to say it's something unexpected, but it's like, you feel that things are kind of rocky, but then as you wait things out, you're like, oh wow, things are actually working out. surprisingly well. So just trust the process, Gemini. I guess that would be the best way for me to say it. You know, trust that things, excuse me, are going to happen. And they're going to happen in a good way. Excuse me. All right, so what else do we need to know for the sign of Gemini? Yes, Gemini. And I'm just getting confirmation of that as I look at this second row of cards. You have some of the most positive cards in the deck here. We have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, the Sun upright, Three of Swords reverse, the World, and the High Priestess in the upright position. Gemini, if you do not tap into your intuition, I'm going to say you need to start doing so, because it's definitely going to lead you in the right direction, especially in that second week of April. But let's go ahead and start here with the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse position. This is all about that lavish life. This is all about things just kind of flowing abundantly. You know, you really creating the life that you want, and you really kind of seeing the hard work that you're doing. It's really starting to pay off. Now, because she's in the reverse position, this only means that you're going to have to kind of just be patient with things. But you're going to have to trust that things are coming. Remember, we talked about that with Temperance. You're going to have to trust that your hard work is going to pay off, and that you are going to create the life that you want. You are going to start seeing results. And I can say that confidently because it's right next to the Sun card. Now, the Sun card is one of the most positive cards in the deck. It's all about ultimate positivity, joy, happiness, things working out, things coming together. It's going to be a sunshine, bright-filled day. The Sun is a very, very powerful card. It's also a very healing card. So if you are having any issues with health, just know that you are going to experience healing and recovery. And if you're not feeling that, by the time we move into the second week of April, you will be starting to feel wellness, wholeness. You're going to just start feeling very, very, things are just going to holistically be feeling really, really good at this time. And I say that again because we have the Three of Swords in the reverse. This is all about healing, releasing the broken heart, releasing those emotional pains that have been holding you back. You finally decided to kind of let go of something that has been causing a lot of hurt in your life. You're finally ready to let go and release the things that have been really heavy on your heart, things that have been kind of upsetting you, not only emotionally, but I also want to say spiritually. Now, the good thing is, well, I should say the other good thing is that we have the World card and the High Priestess card, both in the upright position. Again, two very positive, powerful cards in the deck. The World cards means that things will literally be turning around in your favor. Your world really, really will start to change, and things really will start falling into place. Falling into place in a very good way. It's like things are coming full circle. You know, you may have had some areas in the past where things just felt kind of unfinished, undone, maybe on hold. But just know that the cycle will be completed by the time we move into the second week of April. And also, too, it's just, you know, things really are going to start coming together for you. Things are really going to start being positive, and things are really going to, like I said, just really, really connect in a way that serves you best. Now, we also have the High Priestess here. The High Priestess is all about that intuition. It's all about that spiritual nature that you have. You really need to trust your inner guidance system, Gemini. You really have to stay connected to your higher source, you know, if you are a religious person. Also, you're very, very intuitive. So whenever you start to get these hits or these ideas, or you start to get certain feelings, trust those feelings, because they're taking you exactly where you want to go. Okay, what else do we need to know for the sign of Gemini as it relates to money, wealth, finances, prosperity, and abundance? For for the month of April 2020. All right, Gemini. Now, Gemini, if you have been seeking help or support from someone or something, excuse me, that's definitely coming in the third week of April. The Knight of Cups is about someone literally coming to your rescue. Now, this may or may not be a person. It could be a circumstance. It could be an authority figure. It could be, maybe a program, a government, thing. There is something coming to your rescue as we move into that second half of April. Okay, so whatever it is, just know and trust that there is going to be something out there supporting you, something out there that can help you, and something that will definitely kind of take you to that next level that you've been trying to get to, but for whatever reason you couldn't quite figure it out. There is something on the way that is going to help you, and this is going to be something that helps you financially. Now, we also have the King of Wands here. Now, this tells me there's someone in your workplace. I'm feeling like this is more of a person. There is someone in your workplace who is, I want to say it's an authority figure, someone who is paying attention to you and someone who is considering you for something good. Now, it could be a boss who's considering you for a raise or maybe a position change or something like that. But just know that someone has their eye on you in your workplace, in your business. Someone professionally is watching you. Now, I'm not saying this to scare you, but it just means that someone is taking notice of you and the things you do. And they're very, very curious. They could even be impressed on some level. So just know that someone is paying attention to you and what you do as it relates to your work and to your business. And you probably will start to get information about who this person is roughly in that second half of April. Now we have the Hangman again. Again, remember we saw him up here. The Hangman is telling me, Gemini, that you're feeling a little stuck. You're feeling a little immobile for some reason. Now, I don't know if this is something that is self-imposed, to where you feel like you can't move, or maybe you're feeling stuck, or maybe you're just feeling like you can't make a decision at this time. But I'm telling you, Gemini, just trust the situation, really tap into your intuition, and trust, that you're going to have the knowledge and you're going to have the ability to really make a move when the time is right. Now, we also have the Queen of Wands here. The Queen of Wands tells me that there's changes coming in the workplace, changes coming in your business. Now, the Queen of Wands is a very stable, grounded type of energy. And when she shows up in the reverse, that means there is going to be some type of instability somewhere. Now, this may not necessarily be something directly related to your particular work, but it could be related to your industry or to certain people that you work with. So just know that there's going to be some changes. There's going to be some things that kind of flow in different directions, but you're going to be okay. This is more like a heads up to where you need to know there's going to be some instability temporarily as we move into that second week of April. Again, this is in relation to your work or to your profession. Now, we also have the Magician here. The Magician is in the reverse position. This means that you're not making the decision to kind of create the circumstances that you want. It doesn't mean that you don't have the power to, because you're fully capable, Gemini. But for whatever reason, you're holding yourself back and you're just not ready to kind of create something out of nothing. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that things are not going to happen, but it just means that for whatever reason, right now, you're deciding that you don't want to create anything new. You don't want to, you don't want to kind of find yourself in a situation to where you have to start from scratch. And that's okay, because that does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of energy. And so you're just not there, Gemini, and that's okay. Now, what else do we need to know for the sign of Gemini as it relates to money, wealth, finances, prosperity, and abundance for the month of April 2020? What do we need to know for the sign of Gemini? All right, Gemini. Okay, Gemini, as we move towards the end of April, as we move throughout the month of April, I should say, you're going to actually be going into hermit mode. You're actually going to be kind of withdrawing on some level. It's almost like you kind of want to do something alone. Now, this could be something work-related, business-related. It could also mean that you're going on a personal journey, a spiritual journey, or even some type of a mental break. You know, maybe you just need to take a vacation. Maybe you need to just kind of separate yourself and really just kind of go within. And you're going to find power and you're going to find solace in that, okay? Sometimes we have to go into phases of solitude in our lives in order to kind of be more effective, you know, as an individual, as a professional, as someone who has goals, plans. Sometimes we really need to kind of step back from people. And I have a feeling, Gemini, that probably by the end of April, you're going to be feeling that you need that. You're going to be feeling like, you know, it's time for me to take a break. Excuse me. Now, the good thing about kind of doing your own thing, in your own way, in your own timing, is that it allows you to kind of have your own professional growth. So just know that going into hermit mode is not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it's a very needed thing in order to advance. Now, we also have the Three of Pentacles here. And the Three of Pentacles means that, again, people are watching you. People are seeing what you're doing. Now, I say that because this Three of Pentacles also fell on the King of Wands. Remember, someone is kind of keeping an eye on you. Someone is paying attention to what you're doing. So people are watching you. They're admiring the work that you do. And there's people who do want to work with you. They do want to be a part of what you're doing. Maybe they want to start a new project with you. But this is something that you're probably just not quite ready for yet, Gemini. And that's okay. We also have the Eight of Pentacles here in the reverse position. The Eight of Pentacles in the reverse position is all about a slowdown in workflow, okay? Now, this is not something that you can control. This is just something that kind of happens with, you know, certain seasons and certain cycles of business and finances. So just know that there's probably going to be a slowing down of work or the workflow as we close out the end of April. Now, we also have the Lover's card here. This is all about a divine union. This is about a divine partnership. This is about people coming together in a way that seems like it was meant to be. Sometimes it's about soulmates or twin flames. But as we apply this to the money, financial aspect, this is all about things coming together in a way that it was meant to be. And you really will feel that and you really will see that as we close out the month of April. Finally, we have the Judgment card in the reverse position. This, sometimes what I have noticed is when this card comes up, it tells me that there are certain mental blocks that keep coming up for you. And when you have mental blocks or kind of limiting beliefs that kind of prevent you from taking action or prevent you from moving forward, sometimes it feels like you're kind of stuck in a trap, or it feels like you're stuck in a way that you can't really escape, okay? Because this card is also about rebirth and starting a new phase of life. So you just want to kind of examine your thought patterns and maybe some of your habits as well, and make sure that you're not sabotaging yourself with either limiting beliefs or mental blocks where you think you can't do something. Because I'm here to tell you, Gemini, you totally can. And this is something that is going to, once you kind of resolve it and once you kind of move past it, you will see that you will have breakthroughs and you will have things just kind of start to move quickly in a way that you're just not expecting. And because this card is next to this Lover's card, that means that sometimes there is something, a person or a thing or a circumstance that will seem like it is a divine union or a divine connection, and it will validate, the things you're doing or some of the ideas you've had or some of the actions that you've been taking, or maybe you've been questioning, am I doing the right thing in the right timing, in the right way? And you will see that once you experience this divine coincidence, this, supreme connection, that you can kind of release some of those mental blocks, and you can really feel comfortable in the knowledge and in the positivity that you are moving forward and that you're doing things that are right for you right now. So overall, Gemini, you're going to have a very, very, I want to say it's going to be a smooth and then bumpy and then smooth month again. Because you've got, especially that second week of April, things are just going to be happening in a very positive way. You definitely have things changing in your favor. And you also have people who are kind of, paying attention to you, kind of behind the scenes. They may not necessarily connect with you right now, but at the same time, just know that you're being considered for something greater. You're being considered for something good. You're being thought of, and people are definitely noticing you, and they definitely want to either work with you, advance you, or they want to connect with you. Okay, so those are the things I want you to remember for April, Gemini. Now let's go ahead and close out your reading with a Chakra Oracle card. Oh, and we got the root chakra. This is all about grounding. And I find this interesting because we were talking about here with the Queen of Wands, how things kind of may feel a little unstable temporarily. And I think that really is just a reminder to really get grounded and really kind of create your own stability, either spiritually, mentally, physically, whatever you need to do in order to really root yourself and feel calm and feel confident in the coming days ahead. I think April, like I said, is going to be a very fascinating month for you, Gemini. And if you have any questions about this, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. But I do think April is going to be a very powerful month. All right, Gemini, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or observations, feel free to drop those down in the comments below. And if you are interested in a private reading, I will have that link in the description as well. All right, Gemini, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next month.